Welcome to this podcast episode brought to you by AGS Agriculture Global Solutions, your partner for better farming practices in Malaysia.
It's good to be back. Usually when we do this, we're deep in spreadsheets.
Oh, yeah. All about nutrient uptake, fertilizer schedules, FFB prices.
Exactly. We're always chasing that extra metric ton per hectare.
That's the name of the game, right? How to get more out of the palm.
It is.
Yeah.
But today, we're going to flip that. We're not talking about what you put in, but what's being taken out. We're talking about the thieves in the field.
Ah, okay. And when you say thieves, I'm guessing you don't mean the two-legged kind stealing bunches at night.
No. Much smaller. Furrier.
Yeah.
We're talking about rats. But, and this is the real twist for today's deep dive, we're not just counting the fruit they eat. We're looking at something you can't see. We're looking at what is living inside those rats. The invisible danger.
Yeah. Sounds a bit ominous.
It should. Because a rat isn't just a pest that costs you money. Think of it more like a bus. A biological bus carrying passengers you really don't want getting off in your field.
So our mission today is to understand what's inside the rats on a plantation and how to stop it from jumping over to us.
That's it exactly. We're looking at the health risk to you, your family, your workers. Because if your people are sick, your yield is going to suffer, no matter how good your fertilizer program is.
Okay, let's start with the basics then. We all know rats are a problem. What's the kind of number the industry usually talks about? The economic costs.
The big number you always hear thrown around is an estimated 100 million ringgit every year. That's the cost to the Malaysian oil palm industry.
100 million. That is huge.
It's massive. And that covers everything, damaged FFBs, destroyed shoots, saplings getting killed off. But for this deep dive, we're zooming in on a specific study from Sungai Ara in Kota Tinggi, Johor.
So this is local data. Right in our backyard. What kind of plantation was it?
And that's a really key point. This wasn't a nursery or a new planting. These were mature palms, 10 to 15 years old.
Why does that matter?
Well, a lot of farmers think, once the trees are tall, the rat problem is sort of under control. They relax a bit. But this study shows the threat is just as high, maybe even higher, in an established field.
So what did the researchers do? Go in and set traps?
Yep. They set about 100 live traps, and then they did the unpleasant part. They dissected the rats to see what was living inside them. Specifically, they were looking for parasitic worms, or helminths.
And what did they find? What was the infection rate?
The number was 91.9%.
Wait, say that again?
91.9.
That can't be right. You mean more than 9 out of every 10 rats?
That's exactly what I mean. If you see 10 rats in your block this week, it's almost certain that 9 of them are carrying parasites.
Yay.
They aren't just eating your profit. They are walking, breathing disease incubators.
That is genuinely shocking. I think most of us assume a sick animal looks sick,
And that's the danger. They look perfectly healthy, running around, breeding and spreading these things all over your plantation. That 92% figure tells us the environment itself is perfect for these parasites to thrive.
Okay. Before we get into how it affects us, let's identify the culprits. Who are these rats? Is a rat just a rat?
Not quite. It's a whole community, really. But there's one clear boss. The dominant species they found was Rattus rattus.
The common house rat, right?
That's the one.
What's a house rat doing out in the middle of a plantation?
They are incredibly adaptable. They made up more than half the population in the study. You also had the wood rat, Rattus tamanicus, and the rice field rat, but the house rat is our main concern.
And why is that? Why is it the worst one?
It's all about what it eats. The paper calls it a non-selective feeder.
So not a picky eater?
Not at all. It eats the palm fruit, of course, but it also eats beetles, cockroaches, any rubbish it can find from a dump site or workers' quarters.
And that diet is what makes the difference.
It's the superhighway for infection. Many of these worms use insects, like beetles, as what we call an intermediate host.
Explain that intermediate host.
Think of it like a taxi. A worm egg is in the soil. A beetle eats it. The worm larva hatches inside the beetle. Then the rat eats the beetle. Boom! The worm has arrived at its destination.
So the bugs are the delivery service for the parasites.
A perfect way to put it. And because Rattus eats everything, it's picking up all these infected deliveries.
So we know the rat. Now what about the passengers? What did they find inside?
Get ready for this. They found 10 different species of worms.
10. Good grief. Are they all the same type?
No, they fall into 2 main camps. You've got your nematodes, which are roundworms, and you've got cestodes, which are tapeworms.
And which one was most common in this Johor plantation?
By far, the biggest one was a nematode called Hepatjaricus malayi.
Why that one in particular?
It comes down to the soil. The study points out that the soil there is sandy, loamy, and moist. That is the perfect incubator for these worm eggs. The plantation environment itself is helping the parasite complete its life cycle.
That makes sense. The canopy keeps it shady. You've got moisture. It's a paradise for them. The study also said something about the age of the rats.
Yes, and this is really important for farmers. Adult rats had a much, much higher infection rate than the young ones.
Just because they've been around longer?
Pretty much, yeah. It's exposure time.
Yeah.
A 1-year-old rat has eaten more infected beetles and walked on more contaminated soil than a juvenile. They accumulate these things over time.
So a population of older, bigger rats is a much bigger health risk.
Precisely. Controlling the population isn't just about today's fruit loss. It's about stopping these rats from growing into walking super spreaders.
Right. Let's connect the dots then. This is the part that matters most. I'm a farmer. I'm out in the field. How does a worm get from inside a rat to inside me or my workers? What is this zoonotic risk?
This is the critical piece. Zoonotic just means a disease that jumps from an animal to a person. The study highlights a few pathways. Let's start with a tapeworm called Hymenelepis.
Okay, let's call this pathway number 1, the accidental meal.
Right. So we said rats get this tapeworm from eating infected beetles?
Yeah.
Well, humans can get it the same way.
Hold on, my workers are not eating beetles.
Not intentionally, no.
Yeah.
But think about lunch in the field. You've got your food container open. If you're near a rubbish pile, which the study says is a major risk factor, there are tiny beetles and fleas everywhere.
Ah, contamination.
Exactly.
Yeah.
An infected flea or beetle lands in your rice or your water, you swallow it by accident, and the tapeworm has a new home. It doesn't care if it's a human or a rat.
And the study specifically linked this to poor waste management.
Yes. Open jump sites mean more bugs. More bugs mean more infected rats. More infected rats mean more parasite eggs in the environment. It's a cycle that you feed by leaving rubbish around.
Okay, that's one pathway. The second one you mentioned sounded even worse. It involves the soil, the liverworm, Capillaria hepatica.
This one is particularly nasty. The parasite lives in the rat's liver, and its eggs are trapped inside the liver tissue.
So they don't come out when the rat is alive.
Correct. But here's the dangerous part. When that rat dies in your field from poison, a predator, whatever, its body starts to decompose. As the liver breaks down, thousands of these eggs are released directly into the soil.
So a dead rat is like a contamination bomb going off.
That's a powerful way to put it, and it's true. Those eggs can survive in the soil for a long time.
Yeah.
Now think about a worker walking barefoot or handling a carcass without gloves, then wiping their mouth.
The eggs get in?
You get in, and this worm attacks the human liver. It causes a serious illness that looks a lot like hepatitis. People just think they have the flu. They don't connect it back to a dead rat they saw weeks ago.
Which leads to our actionable advice. But there were more pathways. What about farm animals? Dogs, cats?
That's pathway 3. The study found another tapeworm, Tinea tineiformis. Its larval stage forms a cyst in the rat's liver.
And cats love hunting rats.
They do. But if your farm cat eats an infected rat, the tapeworm matures inside the cat. The cat then sheds eggs in its feces. You pet the cat walks on your porch. The eggs can transfer to you.
So it goes from rat to cat to human.
A chain of infection, yeah.
And lastly, there was rat lungworm, Angiostrongylus.
This one lives in the rat's heart and lungs. Humans can get it from eating raw vegetables or drinking water contaminated by snails or slugs that have eaten rat droppings. It can affect the human brain and spinal cord. Very serious stuff.
Wow. When you lay it all out like that, it's a lot. Gutworms, liverworms, lungworms. It makes the field sound like a minefield.
It can feel that way, but the goal here isn't to scare everyone. It's to make the invisible risk visible. If you can see it, you can manage it.
So let's do that. Let's turn this research into action. What are the key instructions for a smallholder listening to this right now?
Okay, number 1, the simplest and maybe the most important. Stop barefoot farming.
We see it all the time. It's cooler. It's what people are used to.
I know. But this study proves the soil is contaminated with infective eggs, especially where rats have died. Your skin is a potential entry point. Wearing slippers with holes in them isn't enough.
So boots are mandatory, non-negotiable.
Absolutely. It's not about comfort. It's personal protective equipment.
Okay, what's next? Number 2.
Sanitation. This goes back to the house rat. It gets sick by eating bugs at dump sites. So clean up the rubbish piles. Get rid of the old food containers and waste near the workers' quarters.
So less rubbish means fewer bugs, which means fewer sick rats.
And fewer chances for those bugs to land in someone's lunch. It's a direct way to break the disease cycle.
Okay, what about dealing with the rats themselves, the dead ones we find?
Rule number 3, never ever touch a dead rat with your bare hands.
Yeah.
We just talked about the liverworm eggs. That carcass is a biohazard.
So use a shovel, gloves?
A shovel, a long stick, wear gloves. And don't just kick it into a ditch. Bury it.
Bury it deep.
Bury it deep. That contains the contamination. If you just throw it in a drain, the rain will just wash those eggs all over the place.
That's a great specific tip. Okay, what about our workers' health?
Point 4 is observation. As the owner or manager, look at your people. If a worker is constantly sick, losing weight, has stomach problems, don't just write it off as the flu.
It could be a worm infection from the field.
Exactly. It could be helminthiasis. A simple deworming treatment can solve it, but you have to suspect it first. A sick worker can't harvest properly. It directly impacts your bottom line.
And the final point, back to the rats themselves, the age factor.
Yes. Since we know adult rats are the super spreaders, it reinforces the need for consistent control. You can't just bait once a year and forget about it.
You have to keep the pressure on.
You have to. The goal is to keep the population low and, just as importantly, young. A young population has a much lower disease load. It's pest management with a public health mindset.
It really changes how you view a rat, doesn't it? It's not just a thief stealing some fruit. It's a little container of biological hazards.
That's the perfect summary. You have to treat the rat problem as a safety issue, not just an economic one. You control pests to protect your trees, but you also control them to protect your people.
A healthy plantation isn't just about high yield. It's about a healthy, safe workforce that can actually bring in that yield.
At the end of the day, that's what it all comes down to.
Well, this has been an eye-opener. From the soil in Johor right into the parasites inside a rat. It definitely makes me think twice about where I step.
And to always wash your hands before you eat in the field.
That too. We hope this deep dive helps you manage your field not just for a better harvest, but for a safer one.
Stay safe out there.
Remember to visit our AI farming assistant at cropdrive.ai to learn more on how to increase your oil palm yields and incomes. Thanks for listening.